Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. It's interesting news. I've spoken a video about the problems in AI and LLM. Then we spoke about super microcomputers. And on that day, this news also came out that Apple is in negotiations with Google to integrate Google Gemini into the upcoming iOS 18. This is all hearsay. Nothing official has come out. The talks involve licensing Gemini, Google's generative AI model, into what could be powering the next iPhone software. That is, at least. This is because Apple's own large language model, which I was talking about, which is what AI is called, large language model named Ajax, is having its own issues while they're testing it internally. And like I said, the problem with any large language model is it needs exposure to a wide audience and lots of people to use it initially. It's like a child. It needs to be allowed to interact with human beings so it learns. It is very difficult to give birth to an adult. You can only give birth to a child, and the child, being innocent, will not know anything. By process of interacting with the world, it starts learning the rules of the world and starts learning. The problem is companies like Apple, Google, and Microsoft have a huge brand and have a huge responsibility. They are giants in society. They cannot create a child and let it out into the world and say, go figure it out. And this problem is there for Apple too. Though they have a lot of money, though they have a lot of things, one thing Apple does not have is access to a huge wide population which will use their large language model and allow that thing to learn without any repercussions. And Apple is very sensitive about this. As you know, in the history, at least in the short-term history, Tim Cook has suffered with lots of issues, especially when it comes to the current climate the world is in. So that being said, the next best option for Tim Cook was to look at two options, which is OpenAI and Google's Gemini. This is all, of course, before the snafu happened with the image generation and Gemini. They've been talking with OpenAI, they've been talking with Google, and Apple has been testing both of the models with Apple and Apple's ecosystem. And Tim Cook has said, believe it or not, that Google's Gemini is far superior to OpenAI. Of course, like I said, with the caveat, this was before the snafu of what happened with the image generation. Now, we really don't know till June comes around and Apple's World Developer Conference happens, when we'll get more clarity on this. Till then, we'll have to wait and watch. But it is interesting because the EU has also been leaning very hard on Apple to let go its grip on its store, App Store, and also its search engine to allow more flexibility in the iOS environment. Of course, this will mean better news for Google because Google is a dominating search engine. And the partnership between Apple and Google will also lower the stress which is being pushed on Apple about being a little more open when it comes to their environment and their app store and their search engine. When this is looked upon through that lens, you have to wonder what is happening with all this David and Goliath business. When I did a video about it a few months back, or not a few months, a few weeks back, about David and Goliath and the implications of this, there are many Goliaths in the American IT industry right now. We have the Meta, we have the Microsoft, we have the Apple, we have the Google, and they're all the darlings, but they're also Goliath. And these huge Goliaths are finding AI to be a David which they're not able to get around and work with. They've been secretly working on projects internally. Like I said, OpenAI is not something new. Large language models have been there since 1963. And since the inception of computers, we've been trying to endeavor human beings to create artificial intelligence. And the main building block of artificial intelligence is large language models, which is nothing but learning how humans communicate using language. And like I said before, there's a lot of nuances in the way we speak to each other. So the tone, the context of what we're saying, framing it all together, we human beings, as we grow, we understand this. But also this happens when you take a human from a certain society and a certain culture and you inject him into a new society, new culture, that leads to conflict and strife, because simple reason is they're not able to assimilate into the culture very fast and understand. And that has led to a lot of problems around the world. You can see one of the main problems of migrants landing up on the shores all over Europe is that cultural difference which is happening, and it's been festering for a long time. People feel a loss of culture, and the migrants when they land, they find it very hard to get into this new culture, and this leads to a lot of conflict. And this is happening on a human level. So you can imagine can happen if you inject AI into this environment, where we're trying to make something which doesn't understand plurality of human interactions, and it's asked to learn all this. And all these tech giants operate in markets across the globe. Apple is there, it's a global company. Meta is a global company. Microsoft is a global company. Google is a global company. They interact with human beings with different cultural etiquettes throughout the world. And when they put a product out which is going to be artificially interacting with you, this is going to lead to a lot of issues. Microsoft, its own news page a couple of months back, had issues when it was removed all the editors from their news page, introduced AI to take care of the news feed. The kind of news which was being featured in this news feed became into an issue because they were pushing a lot of conspiracy theories on their own main page, and Microsoft had to apologize and try and figure it out. So this is kind of stumbling has been going on. It is just not Google which has stumbled. Microsoft is also stumbling, and now Apple wants to avoid stumbling. The main reason why Apple is scared is they've seen the other guys, other Goliaths in the market struggling with AI. And Apple has been absolutely silent when it comes to AI. And there's immense pressure on Apple to show something, anything, because Samsung has got AI all over its phones. Google has got its AI all over the place. And Apple needs to do something. Otherwise, it's going to be in a real tough situation, because people are wanting AI, will start looking at other ecosystems and leaving Apple behind. The Vision Pro, as much as it was hyped, hasn't really landed Apple anywhere in terms of investor sentiment, nor their bottom line or profit has pushed anywhere with Vision Pro as it is. Maybe the next generation, or maybe once the iOS 18 comes out, we'll get more clarity what they're going to do with Vision Pro ecosystem. So with all that in mind, I can understand why Apple is looking for partners now. Historically, they've always shied away from partnering. They've always tried to be in-house. As much as the same is true with Google, the same is true with Microsoft. But the environment in the world has come to a point where partners are required, partnerships are required, and they need to figure out how to do things together. Otherwise, there's an opportunity where they might even get wiped out. Though they might be a huge giant of a company, we all remember the Blackberries, we all remember the Nokias. So this is the main reason why this is very interesting news if you look at it, that Apple, instead of pushing its own artificial intelligence, Ajax, the LLM out, they're relying on Google or OpenAI or even Anthropic. Probably that could also be there in the fray. We don't know. But what is clear is it is not going to be Apple's own AI which is going to come on the iOS 18. It's probably going to be a mix or a partnership with another one. So June is going to be an interesting month when the World Development Conference happens for Apple, and we get more clarity on what Tim Cook has envisioned for Apple's future when it comes to AI. Thanks for watching this videos, guys, and we'll have another one soon for you. Bye.
It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.